So we're going to take a look at how to complete the housing calculations spreadsheet. So when you open up your assignment, it's nice, bright, and colorful right here. And an extremely important note on this tab, do not type on this tab. So the super colorful page right here, it's got a lot of information. Everything on this page will auto calculate based off of the other tabs that you'll complete. So you'll see down here at the bottom, there are 4 tabs. There's a calculations, directions, home loan, and rental costs. So again, on this calculation sheet, you are not going to type anything here. If you do, you're going to mess up the formulas and everything's going to come back wrong. You're going to have to reset and start from the beginning. So where you want to start with is you want to go to the yellow tab titled Directions. In the directions, it gives you some information of what to do, and I also tried to color code information for you. So the first thing that you're actually going to do is go to your rental costs sheet. You're going to type in the monthly cost for the rental that you chose. This should be the exact same information you submitted on your housing form, and then you're going to watch the calculation magic happen. So housing form, that is this one here, where I asked, will you have a roommate and what is your monthly rent, include the full amount. So these numbers you're typing in have to match that form, or all your calculations are going to come back as incorrect from what I have. All right, so on this housing calculations spreadsheet, I'm going to go all the way to the last tab where it says rental costs. In this green box up here, I'm going to go ahead and type in my initial monthly rent. So I'm going to say my initial monthly rent is $1,850. And then it is going to calculate what is the total cost over 30 years for rent. Okay, so in this simulation, the first month I am paying 1,000, or the first year, every month I'm paying $1,850. So for the first year, that's a total of $22,200. And in this simulation, the rent is increasing by $25 a month each year. So in the second month, I'll put this just so you know. So in the second month, second year, each month I'm paying $1,875. In the third year, it's going up another $25, so I'm paying $1,900. So again, just so that you get the idea, because typically your rent cost will increase every year. Okay, so I just try to do a little bit of an average. Currently, what we're seeing on this spreadsheet is that my initial rent of $1,850, renting over the course of 30 years would be a total of $796,500. So $796,500 for 30 years in rent. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the directions tab. My green one is done. The rental cost is done. I'm going to go down here to purchase costs. I'm going to go to the home loan sheet, which is this purple one. I'm going to refer to the information submitted on my housing form and put that in the appropriate cells. I have amortization notes that I can refer to, and I'm going to calculate the total paid and how much you paid in interest over the 30 years. So the loan amortization notes are right here. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Okay, I'm also going to need to refer to the amounts that I put in my housing form. So my HOA, my APR, the length of my loan in years, my purchase price, down payment, and the amount of my loan. So I'm going to need all of that from that third section. Okay, on the notes that we have here, let me zoom in a little bit here. You also have a paper copy of these notes in your notes packet, the very last page in there, so you can utilize it from there also. So on the purple tab, my home loan, I also tried to color code it. Okay, all the boxes in green are what you submitted on your Google form. These must match exactly what you submitted. Okay, so my homeowners association fee, I'm going to say, is $48 a month. My purchase price of my home is $427,000. 10% for a down payment is $42,700. And that means that my loan amount is going to be the difference between those two, which is $384,300. So again, I'm getting that information from the Google form that you submitted. So make sure you're using your amounts on those. Okay. All right. Now I am going to include my interest rate. Okay, so just kind of add in. All right, my interest rate is 5.5%. I am going to keep it as a percent, and the length of my loan in years is 30 years. Okay, so again, on that one, especially the length, just put the number, don't put any letters or words to go with it. So just the number of years, so 30. Okay. The yellowish boxes are going to be boxes that you are going to need to calculate. Remember that equals is your best friend on these. So if I refer back to the notes here, the home amortization notes, again, I used a little bit of an example here, not the same numbers, but this monthly payment right here, I'm going to take this formula right here equals negative, do not forget that negative payment, and then this information. So in my monthly payment right here, I'm going to say equals, I'm going to say negative PMT. And so we are calculating the payment. The rate is going to be D4 divided by 12. So remember that your interest rate is an annual interest rate. I need to get it to a monthly amount. So I'm going to divide it by 12. I'm going to then get the number of periods. So that is the number of years times 12. So D5, my 30 years, times 12 to give me my number of payments, which should be 360. But again, I'm having sheets calculate my monthly payment. And then this last section here is going to be, what is the amount of my loan, the present value? The amount of my loan is this cell right here, D3, $384,300. So when I do that, I get that my calculation for my monthly payment is going to be $2,182.01. And you can check this on the handheld calculator. But I need to have the formula in there. If you do it on the handheld calculator and then just type in the answer, your all your calculations will be slightly off because of that. So I must have a formula right here. All right, total paid and total interest. We're going to come back to that one at the end, but you can also refer back to your notes of how to calculate that. We're going to complete the rest of this amortization sheet, this guy right here. So in payment 0, when I get my loan, what is my balance? I'm going to type in equals D3 into that section. So equals D3. Okay, I'm starting with a loan of $384,300. Okay, then I'm going to go to the next line right here, line 10. Underneath that 0, again, looking back at my notes here, I'm going to type in equals D9 plus 1. So equals D9 plus 1. You'll see it puts a 1 in there. The amount towards interest, this next column, I'm going to type in right here. Okay, so again, towards interest, I'm going to type in equals E9 times parentheses, $D, $4 divided by 12. So again, I'm going to type in equals E9 times parentheses, $D, $4 divided by 12, and then close the parentheses. So we're taking our interest rate divided by 12 to get it to a monthly amount, and timesing that or multiplying it by whatever our balance is for the prior month. All right, the amount towards principal. So we have a monthly payment that we're making, and so the amount towards principal is going to be whatever that monthly principal is, which is D6, minus however much we are putting towards interest. So the reason we're putting the the dollar sign, so equals D or equals $D$6, is because we always want to refer back to this monthly payment for every single calculation in calculating our principal. It's always what our monthly payment is minus how much is going towards interest. Okay, and then finally our ending balance. Our ending balance is going to be, okay, the prior balance, which is E9, minus the amount that went towards the principal minus D10. So again, I'm going to say the prior balance, the balance just before it, minus how much went towards principal. Okay, and I'm going to get my ending balance for my first payment. So of my $2,182.01 payment every single month, I have $420.64 going towards the balance of my loan, and the remaining $1,761.38 going towards the bank as their reward, we'll say, for letting me borrow money. All right. Okay, so now here we go. We've got row 10. I say how we go through to fill. So we're going to highlight these 4 rows. So click and hold. I'm going to hands-free let go of the mouse so that, again, I can move around, but these 4 cells are highlighted. I'm going to go to the blue circle over here and get it so I have my crosshair. Again, not the arrow, not the hand, has to be the crosshair. And then I'm going to go ahead and click and drag. Now I need to drag for however many payments I'm making. If I, ooh, that did not go over well. Hold on a second. Here we go. Okay, let me make sure here. D, oh, I did that one wrong. That should not be D9. That should be B. I messed this one up. Oopsie. Okay. This should not say D9 for my payment number 1. It should be the 0 plus 1. Shoot, B9. Do I have B9 up here? I do not. I'm going to edit this right now so that that says B9, not D9. All right. B9 plus 1. Oopsie. All right. Highlight, hands-free, circle, crosshair, click and drag. Let me drag to make, there we go. All right, I'm on payment 39. I need to take this to 360 payments because I have this loan for 30 years. So I need to go about 100 more here, 345. I'm getting closer. Here we go. 360. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those ones. And you'll see that on that last payment, 360th payment, I have a balance of 0. Okay, up at the top, final. You do need to calculate your total paid and your total interest. That is something that you, by this point, should know how to calculate. So make sure that you refer to your notes from a few lessons ago to look at how to make those calculations. Again, equals is your best friend to calculate that. All right, so my total paid on my loan is $828,224.73, and my total interest is $401,224.73. All right, now finally, just go back to the calculations. This is where you can see everything of those calculations popping up as. So over 30 years. Okay, I have the purchase price for my house, my monthly payment, and then because I have an HOA, I'm also adding this. So this monthly payment right here is the principal and the interest only. Okay, over here on this side, we have what our closing cost range is. Again, that's just FYI to know what you need to have for closing costs. And then I have my costs because I'm only putting 10% down. We've got to factor in PMI. We have to factor in our escrow amounts for property taxes and insurance, and then the HOA fees. So in the end, my final monthly payment to my bank, including principal and interest, taxes, insurance, PMI, and HOA, is going to be $3,124.80. So significantly more than just my rental of $1,850. Now, over the course of 30 years, that's this guy up here. Over the course of 30 years, my estimate for rent is $796,500. My estimate for my purchase, which is including the loan, the HOA, the taxes, and the insurance for 30 years, the estimate is $1,081,162.15. So kind of a lot. And that difference between the two of renting versus owning is that renting is about $4,662 cheaper than owning. Obviously, there's a lot of factors that go into whether owning or purchasing is a better deal or a better option for you. So much more goes into that, but this is a really good way to kind of figure out, hey, over 30 years, you know, could we make that amount up in our equity? And then maybe it balances out as far as our total cost. When you're done with this, go ahead and make sure that you submit it back in Canvas.